OK, écoute, ça sera pas live, whatever qui est pas bon, Marc, tu me dis, on l'enlève, this and that, you know?
OK, c'est
Ça
bon.
t'est jamais arrivé.
Bon.
Bon, ben écoute, on va faire ça de même, vite.
Oui.
OK? Pas de fucking script, rien. So, Marc, merci beaucoup d'avoir dit oui à cette entrevue.
Ça me fait plaisir.
See, you know, we're speaking French, but it's fine.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. And
okay.
I'm happy I have you on, Marc. And I wanted to ask you, are you a historian, a Quebecois historian?
Not officially, but I'm really invested in historical reenactment, mainly 18th century. I have a huge passion for New France history, so I have loads of books about that, but I don't qualify myself as an historian, but some of my friends are. They work at Parks Canada.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. So, like right now in my real job, let's say it, real job. I'm doing things for Fort Chambly, and also for the Naval Museum in Quebec.
So hold on, what is your real job?
Graphic design.
So you're doing something for Fort Chambly?
Yeah.
What exactly are you doing?
I'm making huge display screens, mesh screens printed.
Yeah.
For a big area to break up the space, and we're putting huge historical maps about the area and that history,
and that's inside the fort, is that right?
That's inside the fort when you visit the fort. And so my task is to make that look good and make touch-ups to these old maps that have creases and fold stains.
Because the only time I've been to Fort Chambly was when Unibrew used to have their beer festival there.
Yeah.
But I've never been inside. And I've got to go back because that's an amazing fort. And out of nowhere, for some reason, it's like, boom, there's a wicked fort. And I remember when we went for the Unibrew, the beer festival, they were in costume like La Nouvelle France, all the soldiers and the musicians playing with the hurdy-gurdies. For me, that blew me away. That was fantastic. It was unbelievable. And going back to you being a historian, Marc, the reason why I say this is because there is no real, am I wrong by saying this? There is no real good book on the history of Quebec. And I'm talking about coming from La Nouvelle France, all the diplomatic stuff. And then when Champlain or whatever came over and started building, colonizing and all that, I can't find any.
Well, I'll point you to some, because there are now there's literally an explosion of book productions on the subject in the last decade or decade and a half. It's true that before that there was nothing much to go by. There was a very good book by that was made in the 1960s by a French, a Quebec scholar. Well, sorry for my memory, but it was my Bible for a long time. And then there are so many books right now on the subject, written by Quebecois authors, Canadian authors, and even French, from France. So, and of course, you have the classic by Fred Anderson, the Crucible of War, which is the Bible about that period. It's a very good book. My favorite lately was Montcalm, an American General. I'm translating the French title by a Québécois here, and it really shows how Montcalm was adapted to that war, and all the bad things that have been said about him is because he was dead, so he couldn't control history. He was dead and he lost. He couldn't control the history. But his brigadier Lévy, he went on to write his memoir and everything, and he shed his actions his own actions in a bright light. So Montcalm is we say in French, le mal-aimé. He's badly loved here.
Yeah.
In a way, he failed us, but to the contrary,
he failed us. Did we even stand? When I say we, I'm talking as a Quebecer, because I have the opportunity, Mark. Unlike you, I have the opportunity to be Italian, but being born in Quebec. I'm a Quebecer, and I'm so proud of everything Quebec. I mean, if I would want to live anywhere in the world for the rest of my life, it's Quebec.
Same for me.
Because I like the smell of the forest. I like the smell of the water. You know, I'm not talking about the grosses villes, like the big cities and all that. I'm talking about living in the woods, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But we share something here because I'm half French. I'm born here, but my mother is French. And that brings me a unique perspective on history here. Because the French, sometimes, not all of them, but sometimes they look down on Quebec, like we're the little lost colony. And on the other hand, the Quebec, they spit on the French. You abandoned us, everything.
Yeah.
So I have always both views.
And it's funny. It's funny you say that, because this is old history, man. Like the little colony on their side, and us, you abandoned us, so we spit on the French, this and that. This dates 400 years, man.
Well, actually, 250.
Okay.
Yeah. No, sorry. You covered so many topics. You could correct me on all wars of Italy, all wars.
Don't worry about it. I don't know anything.
Sorry about that.
But what was I saying before? Did Montcalm even have a chance against the English? The Quebec didn't have the manpower or the war power to beat les maudits Anglais, man.
Well, as you know, because you play many war games, it's not always numbers that matter. And yes, on the number equation, it was a ratio of 20 to 1.
Jesus.
The British and English were, in terms of population, they were nearly 2 million, and we were about 100,000 from Louisiana to Nova Scotia, Acadia at the time.
Yeah.
So based strictly on numbers, we should have lost all the way, but we last 6 years against incredible odds. And there's a little Greek story. I think nobody knows about that. A certain Leonidas, 300 guys against 10,000. So I don't say it was that for us, but numbers. It's not only numbers, and it's not to say that our quality was outstanding compared to the British hordes that were coming at us, but we were more adapted at the beginning for that war, and as it shifted to a more European war with sieges and huge logistics, then we started losing. So you have really two wars in that war, and the best in my opinion, and it's what I state in the playbook, the best we could have achieved against these odds and against being strangled by the Royal Navy and not having food or ammunition or soldiers, it's to stand until the peace comes in Europe and still have a part of New France, so that we keep it, because that's the way it worked at the time. They would have said, they still have Montreal, so they keep Canada. But 10 years later, 20 years later, we'll have another war. It was just, over the century, it was just a question of time that we would have been bulldozed by the British. But that gave us a unique destiny.
But would you say that the war in Quebec was a proxy war from France and Britain? It was France and Britain, and not really Quebec. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's a bit of both, because Canadians versus, because the French colonists were called Canadians. They were the Canadians at the time. I don't want to be lost in my thoughts here. They were very distinct from the French. There was a lot of conflict between French from France and colonists here.
Really? Okay, I didn't know that.
Not unlike the Americans and the British. So in a way, we were fighting, yes, for our own survival, but in the big clash of empires of the British and the French, we were just a pawn, and the focus shifted rapidly to Germany, because it was the big conflict. It was France was very bound to its continental interests in Europe, and it didn't have the navy to protect itself against the overwhelming British superiority. So we became a secondary theater for the French.
And La Nouvelle France, okay, how big was the territory that La Nouvelle France occupied in North America? From where to where? North to south?
Okay, it was really huge. It was from Cape Breton, so the tip, the eastern tip of Nova Scotia. There's an island, so Cape Breton to the Rockies.
Oh, Jesus.
And to the down the Mississippi to Louisiana, and in diagonal alongside the Appalachians. So it was a huge triangle of land, and that constricted all the the British colonies in a narrow corridor along the ocean, and that's why the conflict erupted. In fact, the 7 Years' War in Europe erupted because of the pressure that the Virginians put to expand their territories beyond the Appalachian, and that started a clash, and both empires fed that clash, and it became the first, we can say it's called the First World War. Because it was everywhere. It was in India, it was in Africa, it was in France. It was huge.
So when you say the Virginians, you're talking about the British at that time.
Well, they were the Virginians. They had each colony, each of the 13 colonies had a very distinct identity. They were not a happy, unified bunch. They had conflicting interests. That's why they had such a hard time coming together against the British rule later. But even just before the 7 Years' War, there was an attempt by Benjamin Franklin to make a congress and to unite more the colonies, and it kind of I don't know if I recall well, but it was very coolly received. It didn't work that well because Massachusetts had really different interests than Virginia or South Carolina, or
So I mean, how did the Frenchmen lose all that land?
because they didn't occupy it. That was the key with all the native alliances. It's the French. They wanted the posts to trade, but they didn't want to colonize the land. But the British colonists, they needed land. They were 2 million, and they needed space, so they pushed eastward, and it ended in the end of the next century when
Christ, I mean, 2 million. They could have just stayed in British Columbia and would have had so much land. It's not even funny, but you know, they're taking up all of North America and coming east.
Yeah, but it was not the same. You know what the world population was at that time. It was not like now, that there's people squeezed everywhere. That there was more space per individual than we have now.
Yeah, but I mean, Canada. You can bring all of Europe in Canada, and still we're going to be quite sparse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, we're huge, man. We're huge because nobody wants to live north, much more north than Quebec. And that's the funny thing. I mean, I was born here. I know the land. I know the people. And what the hell did they see when they came here? Because there must have been snow like we've never seen before, man. Or I mean, well, I'm sure we've seen snow before, but it was, man, you only have 3 months of summer here. If. So what the hell did they want here? I guess they wanted the fur.
The fur initially was that was a main staple of commerce, but it was not. It amounted to not that much over time. The real I'd say petroleum of the time was sugar. So the sugar island, they gave many millions of benefits, and the whole fur trade was maybe 100,000. These are very loose numbers. It's just to give you an idea of the ratio. The fur trade was insignificant compared to the sugar trade.
When you say sugar, there's nothing to do with sugar in Quebec.
No, but there was in the empires of the time, the colonial empire of the British and the French, they had the sugar island, and these islands they traded with the northern colonies. And then it went back to Britain and France. So they each had their circuits. They call that in French the commerce triangulaire, the commerce. There were slaves involved in that also, alas. So the sugar was. It was big money. It was big money. And at the end, when the peace came, at that time when peace came, they traded what they captured from the other. So they say, "Oh, I give you back that island. You give me back that thing." And for the French, it was a no-brainer to keep the sugar island, Guadeloupe, instead of Quebec, Canada at the time. So it was a hard choice. Yeah, but
so the Quebecois lost because of sugar.
Yeah, well, that's That's
Grower.
simplifying a bit, but it was not a hard choice, and I think I would have made the same choice because and it's a hard choice. And up to the American Revolution, there were intention, even at the beginning of the American Revolution, there were intentions from the French of using that revenge war against the British to get back Canada, but this was squashed really fast. I don't think it was. I think it conflicted with Washington's agenda.
Well, okay, hold on a second. I'm confused here. The Frenchmen wanted to take back the Canada, and they wanted to ally themselves with the Americans, the new colonials, right?
Well, to put them again, I'll give the caveat that I'm not a historian. I'm just summarizing the many things I read, and the American Revolution is my second favorite topic. So the French didn't jump in the American Revolution. They were very prudent for their involvement. But they saw an opportunity to hit at their old enemy, and at one point I know it was discussed. So is it Hydro-Quebec? You didn't pay again? Don't do that, Dan.
Yeah, no, I pay my hydro, or else we wouldn't be here, for God's sakes.
Yeah. So, like I was saying, so some French officials had that intention of using that opportunity.
That opportunity.
To try to take back Canada, but it was like
so. Basically, George Washington saw. So George Washington basically saw through that if the Frenchmen would help the Americans, then at one point the Frenchmen would take over, and that independence war would have been for nothing. Is that probably a reason? Or George Washington said, my balls are bigger than yours, oublie ça?
Well, none of these, and it's a vast and complex subject, because even for the Americans, it was so complicated between themselves to make that revolution succeed. Like I said, each colony had different interests.
Right.
There was the problem of money, and that's where France stepped in. They kind of backed their war. Otherwise, they couldn't have achieved it. But the rest, I'd say for this morning, with my my post Saturday night memory, it's speculation.
So another question here: why was Louisiana kept French? Like, why Louisiana?
Okay, well, Louisiana was French. It was a
no, I know, but I mean, who was it that gave basically North America to the States and said, "But I want to keep Louisiana French"?
Well, Louisiana was not captured at all, so it wasn't in the bargaining table, because you have to understand that New France was composed of Louisiana, Canada, and Acadia. So Acadia was conquered fast. Everybody, the deportation, that
755.
That big ugly thing that should never have happened, but that happens so much in history. Then next we're taken, and by the time the war ends, Louisiana is still in French hands. And then there are all the treaty negotiation, and because lately the Spaniards, they joined the French because they were both Bourbons kings, but they joined very late just to be ripped off of everything by the dominating Royal Navy. In the late negotiations, France said to Spain, we will give you Louisiana. So Louisiana became Spanish. So there was a short period of transition, and some French living there were really not happy about that. They even revolted, I think, some of them. So that's how Louisiana wasn't given to the British. It was up to the east bank of the Mississippi.
And is there any Spanish influence at all in Louisiana in terms of architecture, stuff like that? You know,
I'm not knowledgeable in that field because my focus is really up to the end of the French and Indian War. So I don't know how much the Spaniards gave their
influence over there,
to this land. And as we speak, it's always unclear to me, in the 19th century, you have Napoleon selling Louisiana to the United States. So there's a gap in my knowledge, like, okay, well, Louisiana wasn't it Spanish then? So how come it
I see, okay.
So there must have been, like in hockey, some trades of players.
And you just made me think of something. Off the coast of Newfoundland, there's two islands, Saint-Pierre and Miquelon.
Yeah, I wanted to mention it.
Yeah, what the hell? What's that? That's a French state.
Yeah, and it's a direct result of the French and Indian War, because at the end of that war, France was like crippled. They lost big time in that war, and it was vital for the French to keep a toehold in the cod fishing business, because the cod fishing business is the nursery of sailors. If you don't have the cod fishing business, you don't have sailors when there's a war. So it was vital, and they negotiated really, really, really hard to keep just these two islands.
Bloody hell. So
yeah.
What the hell? So what's France still doing there today?
Well, why the United States have some bases in Pacific is the same thing as any empire.
Okay.
For us, it's just a dot on the map, but you go there, you try to circle it on foot, and you're on for a big walk.
Have you ever been?
No. It's strange. The only image I have of this island is like a foggy, cold, dreary.
And it's funny because the image I have of Saint-Pierre and Miquelon is the same thing as the Maldives, the Falklands. For me, it's that. See? Who the hell wants to go there?
The Falklands, it's big too, and we have that view because we're sitting in our little Quebec.
Yeah.
I'm sure if we were born there, we would love it there, living in the sea and everything. But I think that every picture I saw in National Geographic or anything else, it's always gray and misty.
Yeah, I know.
And a Stephen King horror movie, like
that's right.
The northern part of Maine at night.
Hey, there was. I don't know if you watch Netflix. I don't know if it was on Prime or Netflix, but this actor Jason Momoa, you know, the big guy, Jason.
Yeah.
He did I think a Quebecois production that he was. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know. I tried to watch it, and
no, I know. There's always a bit of but I watched it because I wanted to hear Montreal and Quebec, and we were, that was cool for me. But yeah, I know what you're saying.
But it's entertainment, and now you say it, you remind me that I wanted to give it a second chance
You
because
should.
I love Jason Momoa. I love
Yeah,
it.
and you know,
Dune in the
the thing
second
is,
one.
the thing is that when they go into the bar and you see the bar ladies, they're
Mm-hmm.
clean, proper. Their nails are not dirty. It's like, I don't think so. You know,
Oh, that's no. That's a big myth because in the about how dirty we were at the time, it's not true.
okay.
You need hygiene, otherwise you get sick. And I have a reenactor colleague. She's a woman, Evelyn Bouchard. She makes conference, and one big conference she makes is how people wash themselves at the time, because well, they say, oh, everybody stank, they
Well,
didn't wash.
yeah,
Well, you don't wash, you get sick.
that's
Animals
true.
wash themselves, so we have to do the same.
Okay, so that's okay. So I'm gonna look at that in a different way.
They didn't have hot showers, that's one
Well,
thing, but there was the rivers everywhere, and not polluted,
like
desecrated rivers like we have right now.
today, I know, I know.
Mm.
Okay, Mark, your game, Bayonets and Tomahawks.
Yeah. Oh,
That,
yeah. We're here to talk about games. I forgot.
yeah, no, but I mean, we're here to know Marc Rodrigue too. I mean,
Oh,
seriously,
yeah.
you know. And
Yeah.
you know what, Mark? It's my show. Whatever I want to talk about, I want to talk about. Me,
Okay. I won't fight with you.
don't worry about it.
I'll call Jason Momoa. Go see that.
Uh, actually, you know what? He wouldn't be able to hit me because I'm so small. I'd run between his legs, and he's too slow. Anyways,
Hmm.
so is this your first game?
Yes and no. This is my first published game. That's the first project that I stick to the very end to make it published, and almost died trying. And literally, at one point I had a heart attack, but
Did you really?
but it wasn't related to the game. But it was, yeah.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, man.
No, it's I'd say it's the greatest thing that happened to me, because nowadays having a heart attack is not like in the old times. You say, he had a heart attack, it meant he's dead. Now there's very good care for that, and I'd say you rarely die from that, unless you have a really severe bad health and everything. Me, it was stress that caused it, because I was jogging up the Mont Royal 3 times a week. I was in good shape, eating well, but stress got me. So,
but I was gonna say, you don't look like a stressed type of guy, Mark. T'es pas mal smooth, my friend.
Beware of looks. It boils in here.
Yeah. How long in the making was this game?
Well, that one, it was it's funny, it took almost 7 years, so like the 7 Years' War. But it's a really long story, because I started its great grandfather in the 1990s, because I had bought that game, which is an excellent block game by Columbia.
Wow. Okay, that's an old game, man.
It's really cool. To this day, it's a classic. And lately, I got this is the first edition. I got my hands on it. And so I played that, and I was so nuts about it that I wanted to make a whole new friends version of that. And long story, I ended up having a game by 1998 that I was about to self-publish. It was called 1755, and it was the whole French Indian War. And I had to put it on hold because my business, my graphic design business, was keeping me really busy. I had small children, and I said, no, I don't have the time to push that. So I put it on hold, and like, lo and behold, 2 or 3 years later, Volco publishes Wilderness War. And I take that box at the local store, the Valet Coeur, and I say, okay, wow, he did everything. I won't bother. So the project just went to sleep for 10 years. Then then in 2008, I went to Ticonderoga. There was the first big 250-year reenactment of the French and Indian War. There were about, you say you went nuts when you saw a few drunk guys in costume. Well, imagine you see, like, I think there were 2,000 reenactors, not drunk, reenacting the Battle of Fort Carillon. I went nuts again, 2008, and I decided I said, oh, I'll take out my old game and I'll try to do something. And I also decided to become a reenactor at that time. I joined the troupe in 2009. And I thought I just have to dust up a few things, and it would be a great game. And then I worked and I worked and I worked for like 4 years on and off. And it was a huge, complicated thing, nearly unplayable. I had tables for supply ships and what they were carrying and what you were giving to the natives and everything. And I met the publisher at Max Michaels from Stratamax Games at an historical reenactment, and I showed my game, and he said, "Wow, that's serious stuff." He wanted to present me to the guy from Academy Games, Uva,
yeah.
And he said, who wins usually in the game? I say, I don't know, because I never finished a game. I never played the whole game. And then he chuckled and he said, well, try it 10 times and then call me back. And then I started trying it, and it took like 6 hours to play. And I went depressed. I said, that's not what I want. I want to have I want to have something that plays in 2-3 hours.
Yeah, I understand.
So in 2013, October, an evening, I had like a vision, and I recall the old Warcraft PC computer game. Like, you had the guys and you were poking on them, and yes sir, yes sir, and they were constructing, they were fighting, and I said, that's what I want. No numbers, no tables, no CRT. I'm fed up of calculating odds and everything. I want simple, one dice, one token, and that's when Bayonets and Tomahawk concept is born in October 2013, and it took until late 2020 to finish it. But it's always something you do on and off, because it's many hundreds of hours of work that you do over your regular work. Sometimes you're almost burnout. You say, I don't want to do this anymore. Then you go back, and I have to do a big hats off. Now you see I'm bald also. A huge hats off to all the backers of the project, those who purchased it through P500, those who who communicated with me, and meeting and convention and everything, because at the point when I was about to drop the ball and saying, no, that's too much, I don't do that anymore, I was thinking of all of them. I was thinking, I can't let all these people down.
I understand.
So it's big thanks to them that we have a game, and big thanks to the many people who shared ideas and everything. It's almost like a collective project. I felt like I was
and you know what? and you won what? Designer of the Year with this game?
Yeah, not young, but a new designer, so new old designer of the
No,
year.
well, it's Designer of the Year. I mean, congratulations on that. This is your first game, so you know what? I guess in hindsight, look, I guess in hindsight, it was worth it. We're here talking about it, so le passé c'est le passé. On laisse faire. But
it was a nice adventure. I don't regret it at all. I am ever so thankful about how it ended, because I couldn't have dreamed a better outcome.
So, I mean, Gene Billingsley, what does he want with Un Québécois? How did you get that?
Yeah, I think you can come from planet Mars if you have a good game. He will take it. Sometimes there are really strange games that pop up on P500. I remember a Magic Wizard or something like that, but it's games, and it's not bad to expand the horizon from the classic X encounter.
Strange games, Javolko Runke, for God's sakes, man. What else is he going to come up with? The Battle of the Synchronized Swimmers there. Seriously, this guy, man. Let's go. So, did this whole trip of creating a game, because I know you play games a lot, you go to Stack Academy and all that. Are you fed up of designing, or is there a design in progress right now?
Well, there are several designs in progress right now. I have when Atlantic Chase came out from Jerry White, it solved for me a problem for a theater I wanted to cover, which is the Battle of the Coral Sea, which fascinates me because the US and the Japanese carrier are so near each other, but they never know it. And I wanted to find a way to simulate that. It was a project I had for maybe 10 years. And then when I saw Atlantic Chase, I said, wow, that's it. So I think I play Atlantic Chase two or three tutorials, and then I started making an expansion about the Battle of the Coral Sea, and I worked really hard at it, and Jerry loved it. He presented it to Gene. Gene loved it. Gene and Jason loved it, and so I have that project that should continue. And another one is in the things I wrote to you before. I'm very fond of World War II tanks, and I've been on a quest since the 1990s to make my perfect tank skirmish game. And so I have a project that's called Steel Platoons, and it's tank skirmish, but I want something. I'm doing something lightweight, very not heavy on rules and data, more inspired. I'd say in a way it could be inspired from the spirit of a Combat Commander.
Okay.
but just the spirit. It has nothing to do with it. But it's the reverse of Combat Commander. In Combat Commander, it's World War II tactical infantry without tanks.
That's right.
And me, it's World War II tanks without infantry. Because
without infantry, okay.
You always have well, the infantry is abstracted in that game, and it met with a really good reception at Stack Academy. I presented it both times. There's a publisher that's interested in it, so that's the one I'm working.
When do we expect your Atlantic Chase game and tank game to come out?
I don't know, because right now I'm in that period. You say I said it's stop and go.
Yeah.
Right now I have many things in my life, including a dog, a lovely dog, first time in my life, and so I have less time to prioritize that, because we all do that on the side. We all do that.
I know you're not going to get rich from that. That's for sure.
And I have been trying to force it since November to get back at it, and then a few weeks ago, it's just like take a break, play games.
Yes.
And I bought that. I bought that last week.
Are you enjoying that?
There's so many good ideas in that system. I love it. It can seem a little bit too abstracted if you like the meat and the data, but the whole essence of it's simplicity. I love the terrain that you build. It's never the same. It's not maps with hexagons. So I was seduced by that. I had the Normandy version, but now because of the Netflix show SAS Rogue Heroes, I had to get that one.
Are you enjoying that show?
I love it. I loved it.
The season 2 is coming out soon, eh?
Oh man! So
I first I watched it a bit and I said I don't want to watch this, and then I'm engrossed. I'm watching it, and every character, especially the Irish guy there,
Paddy Main.
That guy's crazy, man. I love him. Him.
He's too much. Yeah. And the funny thing is that the main character, the
British guy.
Yeah, the one who has a girlfriend that dies. Yeah. In real life, he was ugly like hell. I don't know if you looked up photographs of him. He was really ugly.
Because he's not that ugly there. He's a handsome man, you know.
Yeah. They made him handsome. But yeah.
But no, I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed that, and I'm looking forward to season number 2. And I hope they go on and on and on and on. But how on and on can you go? You got 3 years of Desert War, and that's it, you know.
Yeah, but Paddy Main ended up elsewhere. I think he went to Korea. I'm not sure, but
really.
Yeah, and he went to mainland Europe. I think it was with the commandos at D-Day. If I recall well, that's always the trick with me. There's so many info there.
No, but that's interesting, because they could continue like they did with Saul Goodman of Breaking Bad. They continued Saul Goodman, Better Call Saul. I don't know if you watched Breaking Bad.
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I hope they do that with Paddy Main. But what were we talking about? We're talking about your games, yeah.
So you were asking when?
Yeah, and also it's good. It's amazing, actually, that at Stack Academy there are so many good designers there to have input and to try it out. It's amazing the amount of design brain power That's that Stack Academy. It freaks me out sometimes. Did you go to the last one?
No, not the last one. I went to both in fall, September and November, but not the last one because I had a big family birthday to organize.
Okay.
But I wanted to tell you something and tell you something and tell it also to all the other wargame YouTubers. Do interviews of developers, because we designer, we are nothing without developers. And
I know.
You made me think of Marco Poutre, my developer, who is also
a designer too.
And he works now for GMT on several titles, but they work so much in the shadow. And
no, I know.
And when the game comes out, it's the designer. So I want to again express gratitude in life to have crossed the path of Marco Poutre, because he's the Paddy Main of development.
And I understand and appreciate, and I know what you're saying, because it started off with Herman Lutman, and then his developer was my God, I forget his name.
You forgot his name. You see, well, that's my point. That's my point.
Oh my God. Anyways, he's a super nice. I know, but I just forgot. Oh my God.
That's precious. Yeah.
But they don't want to be interviewed, most of them, man.
I don't know. It depends. If you don't ask, I'm sure you call Marco. You have a good show.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna call Marco, and I'll make it a priority, because he does work for GMT on certain designs. He is a designer too, and maybe he can articulate the tasks involved in developing the game and telling you, no, c'est pas bon. No, this is good. This pas bon. See?
Yeah. Working with him, I earned I developed my own approach to game design, and my nickname is Mr. Chainsaw, because now I'm able to see the useless junk I bring in the design and say, oh, no, that's not good. But
okay, so you can self-criticize. You can self-criticize then.
Yeah, but much more than I did before working with Marco, because most of the time you're the designer, and now we have a precious bit. Oh, I want to bring this, and it's for you. It's the brightest
the end of the world,
the world, but it can be crap. And pardon my French. And the tabarnak. Oh
man.
Little parenthesis. Thursday, I saw a car plate, a Quebec car plate for sale with the plate number is Tabarnak. Je me souviens, I wanted to buy it and put it for the video, but
oh man,
it would not be in good taste.
Yeah,
but,
no,
yeah, but yeah, the designer, you bring idea, but you need someone to confront you, to tell you sometimes just, you're sure about this, or this is crap, cut it out, or sometimes to have you thought you could do even more on that. So Marco, I fought with him to make him a co-designer. I said, Marco, you did so much for that game that you're almost a co-designer, and said, no, I'm the developer. This is my role. But the good developers, they work really hard to bring out the best in game design, to streamline things, streamline rules. It's so hard to write good rules, structured, and this is something the developer will help a lot.
Where does he get all this skill?
Marco he's a formateur, trainer in IT business, so he already has the knacks for how can I say that? To transmit the content to
Yes,
people,
I understand. To
to make
explain
them
properly and
understand,
coherently.
to make them understand things.
Yeah.
So we were a great duo, and we still are. If I do another, well, when I do another game, I want to work with him because it's so good.
And is GMT always going to be your publisher, or will there be other publishers?
It depends on the. I think every publisher has its niche. I'm really, really, really happy that Bayonets and Tomahawks landed with them, because the unique characteristic with GMT is that you really have a free hand to push forward your project. And as I'm a graphic designer, I also had the possibility to make my own design, something I'm not sure I could have done if I was with Academy Games. What I heard from Academy Games is that you submit a concept, then they develop
take it over. Okay.
they do everything, and at the end, is it still your baby? So I'm quite autonomous, and there were many key points I needed to have my way, and GMT gave me all the free reign to
Okay.
do.
Yeah.
So,
I guess they have a different business approach.
yes. And the on the flip side, you could feel alone all by yourself with the project. It could be the flip side, but in my case, it was perfect. And the Coral Sea, it's sure that the Coral Sea expansion of Atlantic Chase, it's with GMT. It's their
license.
yeah, it's what they do. My tank game, I felt I had to go somewhere else, because they already have two excellent tank games. They have Panzer, which was my very first war game. I love what Jim they did over the years, and all the detail and all the nitty-gritty.
A lot of detail.
Yeah. Oh, it's the best simulation in the marketplace. And more lately, Tank Duel.
Mike Bertuccelli.
Yeah, that I'm not personally fond of, because for me, a single tank, I like to have more tanks on the map.
Okay.
But I see the vision in that game and the enthusiasm it brings from the community and everything. So they don't need my third game. So I proposed it. And also the style I want to do, still platoons. It's do you know Heroes of Normandy? The French
one. Yeah.
So I love that spirit, because
I see. Yeah.
I used to watch war movies with my father when I was a kid, and that's all my fascination with World War II comes from. Also, my French grandparents, they lived through the conquest and occupation of France, so I have all memories of that. And but what I love about Heroes of Normandy is that for a long time I tried to replicate movies in war games, but realistically.
Right.
And these guys, these crazy guys, they bring the movie in the war game, and that's what's so fascinating. So I want something more storytelling, maybe a bit less realistic, cold.
That you're saying that game is very realistic?
The Heroes of Normandy. It's n'importe quoi, but not n'importe quoi, but it's chaotic, but it's
is it well done?
It's well done. Yeah, it's well done. And it's the storytelling that's powerful in that, because realistic tank skirmishes, it's really
well, I mean,
bad stories.
but I mean those games, and I've been wanting to get those games because I know Carl Paradis gave me an expansion, but I don't have the core game. But they're not cheap, those games, man.
No, they're not cheap, and they out of enthusiasm, they kind of went in every direction. When you go through the rules, it's a nightmare. You feel it's a gang of crazy guys, a bit like you and me, that let's do that, and it's very well executed. I love the spirit. I love the concept of blocks for initiative, and I love. How can I say that? It's kind of lighthearted. That's what I love about Heroes of Normandy. It's lighthearted, and it makes you a bit forget about the dreariness of war.
And is it difficult?
No. It's
okay. I'm gonna have to get it now. Moods it, mad.
Oh well, I'll make you try it. And I liked it so much that I made the France 1940 expansion, because there was nothing about France 1940.
Are you going to go to the next stack?
Maybe in March. If you're there, I'll be there to show you.
Well, I mean, if I'm there, it depends. Now my job ends, my Momado ends, and I'm going to see what I have.
Yeah.
It's always like that.
You don't work on Saturday, so.
Well, no, I with my Mando right now, I work every second Saturday.
Oh, okay.
So that's the problem, because Mark, the guy from Stack, Mark, he invited me, and I was like, I work, you know.
Okay.
So, anyways,
wow.
Well, look.
We have to do that in an evening. Do you live in the blockhouse in Les Coteaux? I go knock on the wooden door.
No, how far? You're quite far from me, man. It's an hour 15 minutes, an hour and a half.
No, but it's my favorite biking spot. I do the Soulanges Canal.
Vraiment.
Yes, and I go if you like people in costume. There's in Vaudreuil. There's the Seigneurial de Vaudreuil every June, and it's a huge New France ceremony.
Oh yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, I've been there once, because I used to sell meat.
Okay.
And a lot of vendors go there, right?
Yeah.
I went there once. I gotta go again.
So I'm there sometimes as a reenactor. So yeah.
Well, and also you work at Valet Car.
Yeah.
What the hell are you doing at Valet Car?
Oh, I was drunk with Marc Guénette, and he said, we need help. So I said, I go. No, because I'm a freelance graphic designer. I work alone up here.
Okay.
All the time. And I felt it would be fun to have a little extra money and to meet people. So I've been hired as the war game guy.
The war game specialist, yes, of course.
Yeah, but I know more than that, and it's a really cool crew. So
It's a great place, man. I filmed it once. I think I'm gonna go back, redo it again. Hopefully, when you're there and you could show me around, at least I'll get a first hands on what's going on. But anyways, Mark, I have to cut this because I'm past 1 hour. I can't talk anymore. J'en peux plus, Chris. And that's the thing with games. I can't do long games. I fade out, man. It's like
oh yeah, I understand. I'm the same. 3 hours at most.
Jesus Christ, 3 hours.
Yeah.
Anyways, so Mark, thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it. Your time, this and this and that. Stick around. Let me close this thing and salut. On va les avoir les Anglais.
Salut, messieurs les Anglais, tirez les premiers. Shoot first.